Why, hello. Welcome to Lighten Up with Lucy. Whoever you are, whatever you are wearing, whenever you are watching this, wherever you are right now, why ever you clicked on this video, I am here to let you know that you are beautiful. I have no idea what you actually look like, but that has no effect on just how truly beautiful you are. You are breathing, you are alive, and you are here. That is all that matters. Today's video is my very first video, and I'm going to start things off right by being completely vulnerable and open with you, as I will do in all of my videos. The year was 2013. I was 257 pounds and in the worst health of my life. I was working at a diner and I was picking up a lot of bad habits as a way to escape from my decade of depression. I could feel my heart and lungs beginning to have a harder time functioning. If I bent over to sweep under a table for 5 seconds, I'd stand back up and be tingling and feel like I was going to pass out. There were so many times where I had to literally go and sit down for 5 to 10 minutes just to recollect myself and my breath. Every meal that I ate back then was either a greasy bacon cheeseburger, deep fried chicken, or some other unhealthy junky food that I was putting into my body out of a mixture of tradition, lack of care, and convenience. I was drinking nothing but soda, energy drinks, coffee, and when not working, alcohol. I could feel myself spiraling out of control, but I tried passing it off as having fun so that no one would try to keep me back from escaping. Being in the place that I am today, I can't believe that these memories that I have are actually from my past. Right as I was feeling like I may have actually reached my end, there was this little voice inside that told me to hang on just a little longer. To do this, though, I knew that I needed a major change in my life. I initially went vegetarian as a New Year's resolution in 2014 as a way to try to lose weight and get my life together for the first time. I decided that although going vegetarian was going to already be super beneficial, that it would be beneficial to also give up caffeine. I did still occasionally drink alcohol out of peer pressure and the toxic feeling of needing to do whatever it takes to fit in, but luckily for me, my friends didn't feel the same way about me now that I was choosing healthy foods over the whole pizzas and platters of hot dogs that I was known to devour like it was nothing. We tried to hold on to our years of friendship, but we were drifting apart a lot more quickly than we were willing to admit to each other. We were just going down different paths, and I appreciate them for everything that they ever helped me through. We initially got as close as we did because they had saved me from taking my life at the peak of my depression back in 2010, and no matter how different our lives are, I will never forget how much they mean to me. Even in going vegetarian for my health, I had very much planned on going back to eating meat as soon as the end of the year arrived. That July, though, my life changed forever. I had begun learning about Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and the principle of nonviolence, and as someone who had spent my life obsessed with hippies, the Beatles, Woodstock, the year 1969, flower power, tie-dye, peace, love, and happiness, actually embracing nonviolence as a part of my life was the next logical step. While I was at the beach one day, I looked down at the water flowing around me and noticed these amazing and beautiful beings swimming around me. I was in such awe. I had never been so close to fish without them being in an aquarium or on my plate. Though I had identified as a vegetarian since January, I was very occasionally a pescatarian, meaning that the only animals that I would still eat were fish. My reasoning behind this was ridiculous looking back now, although I have sadly heard a lot of people sharing the same views. I was made to believe that fish do not have any feelings, and because of that, they don't count as real animals. At this moment, though, I knew that there was literally not an ounce of anything inside of me that would make me think that it was okay to take their lives. It was completely obvious, for the first time in my life, that these beautiful beings were just swimming around the same life as me, and that I could never eat them again. I remember being a kid and hearing that fish are friends, not food, which I now have tattooed on me. I decided in that moment that I could never eat another animal of any kind for the rest of my life. I was officially going to be a lifelong, ethical vegetarian and dedicate my life to saving the animals. Being meatless, not drinking soda and energy drinks, and majorly decreasing my alcohol use, soon quitting altogether, while simultaneously increasing my water intake and levels of physical activity are collectively what led to my initial weight loss. By October of that year, after a lifetime of constantly gaining mass, I had officially lost my first 40 pounds. When I stepped onto the scale that day, I can honestly say that I had never been more surprised by anything in my life. It was around this time that I started doing actual online activism to my large but quickly dwindling friends group on Facebook. Once I saw the fish and the rest of the animals on the planet for who they really were, I couldn't just sit back in silence while all of my loved ones were paying to have our fellow beings killed and eaten. At this point, I had never seen a slaughterhouse video, but I knew without seeing them that there was no such thing as an ethical way to steal the life of someone else without their consent. As people tried to argue with me and say that animals can't consent because they can't speak, I said, exactly. People were not okay with me speaking up on behalf of the animals and everyone's health because they felt as though I thought that I was better than them. I myself knew that we were all equal and one and the same, which was the entire basis of my transformation and mindset elevation. To this day, I hold very confidently that though none of us are better than any others, being peaceful will always be superior to being violent. Over the next year, I had lost another 40 pounds, and I was feeling better than I had ever felt in my life. I could walk, run, go up and down stairs without feeling out of breath, bend down without feeling like I was going to pass out. Like I said earlier, I couldn't believe that I was the same person here in the story. I was so happy and feeling more and more connected to the animals, the planet, and the universe around me with every new second that became a new present. I went from wanting to escape this life to being so grateful every morning that I woke up and got to live another day. My positivity and newfound confidence led me into being increasingly more honest and straightforward with every new person who came into my life. September of 2015, I started dating the person who I would soon marry and have a child with. We seemed to have so much in common. They seemed to actually understand me, and though they were not vegetarian yet, they were very willing to do it once I shared my experiences with them. They actually became pregnant very soon into our relationship, and as two people who were still in the beginning excitement of an immature relationship, we were both inconceivably excited to be starting this new chapter of life together. They went vegetarian so that we could ensure that our baby was born out of pure peace and love. We had some ups and downs, as everyone does, but we were so happy together. We got married that December, and with a baby on the way, it felt like nothing could bring us down. Late on the evening of April 8th, 2016, my spouse went into labor, 3.5 months earlier than expected. We were so scared, but we knew that we had each other and that we had built up such good karma through being vegetarian for the animals. At 3 a.m. on April 9th, our baby Casey Kasem Reese was born. They were the smallest human that I had ever seen. They only weighed 2 pounds 15 ounces. Their entire arm was the size of one of our fingers. I knew, though, that they were here, beautiful and valid, no matter their size. I was in love. My heart had never felt anything like I did the moment that they were born. Because they were so premature, they had to stay in the NICU, which is where they take special care of babies who need extra help until they can function without added assistance. We would go up to the hospital and see them as often as we possibly could, but we were in school, so it sadly wasn't every day, and I remember how bad we would feel if we had to choose homework over seeing them, but we knew that they were being taken well care of. My family and the friends I had left were all so excited for us because they knew how badly I had always wanted to be a parent, and my time had finally arrived. I had literally never felt as happy and full of love as I did in that moment. 5 o'clock the morning of May 12th, we were woken up to a phone call saying that Casey needed surgery and that we needed to come up to the hospital to sign the consent paperwork. So we got out of bed, got ready for school, grabbed our backpacks, and headed to the hospital. When we got to the NICU, we walked in and saw that there were about 20 people surrounding Casey's incubator. The crowd started parting as we walked in, and the first thing that the doctor said to us was, "Do you want us to leave the tubes in or take them out to do an autopsy?" That was how we found out that our baby had died. All of a sudden, every good feeling that I felt drained out of my body. It had only been a month and 3 days. My shot at parenthood was done. My beautiful baby, my reason for living, was gone. I was completely crushed. It was the worst pain that I had ever felt in my life. They sent us back to a special room where we cried harder than we'd ever cried before. About 30 minutes later, they brought in their lifeless body, and that became the second and final time I ever held them in my arms. I didn't think that I was ever going to stop crying. They took them away after a while because they were starting to turn purple, and all of a sudden I felt so numb. I just kept asking the universe what I could have possibly done to deserve this. The very next day, I learned the life-altering answer. That day, I saw my very first slaughterhouse footage, which was very intense, but I learned things that I had no previous idea about. I saw my first videos of what happens behind the scenes in the dairy and egg industries. Simply put, I was horrified. I learned that there is no such thing as being an ethical vegetarian. I will spare the details for any younger viewers, but I need you to understand when I say that there is absolutely nothing humane or kind or compassionate about the way that we treat these beautiful, innocent, emotional beings. Although I felt all of it in the deepest part of my soul, the dairy industry was the part that hurt me the most. To see these newborn baby cows stolen away from their parents while they are crying and screaming for the farmers to give them back was easily one of the hardest things that I have ever had to watch. As someone who had just lost my baby 1 day ago, I could not believe that with how much I loved and fought for animals, that I was unknowingly paying to have other families ripped apart just because of my supposed love for milk, cheese, and ice cream. As someone who has "all you need is love" tattooed on my leg, I felt like such a hypocrite for claiming that I truly knew love before that moment. Love is not tearing apart families. Love is not exploiting others. Love is not taking away others' lives. Love is not eating somebody's body. I knew in that exact moment that Casey had come in and out of my life so quickly to teach me what true love was, and I wasn't going to let them down. I claimed that from that moment on, I could no longer use my dollar to fund such darkness and evil in the world. As someone so dedicated to nonviolence and world peace, to go ethically vegan was the only answer. I am going to take a moment to explain just what vegan truly means. There are many misconceptions, but the biggest one that I've come across is that vegan is a diet. Though the labels at the store try to convince you of such, there is no such thing as vegan food. Food is either vegan, peaceful, or not actually food, violent. People try to create such normalcy in vegans being a trend so that they can still continue selling and believing in the violence that divides all of us. All that vegan really means is peaceful, non-violent, loving, caring, and compassionate. To be vegan is to see injustice in the world and refuse to be silenced and ignorant any longer. Going vegan is to accept the privilege that we have been given as humans and utilize that privilege to create a better world for everyone involved, not just other humans. I remember when I was vegetarian, I didn't think that I could feel any better than I did in that moment. I am so genuinely glad that I was wrong and that I kept pushing to do better for myself, the animals, and the planet. I am now coming up on my 4th year as a non-violent being, and I can say more confidently than anything before that going vegan was the best decision of my life. I have now lost a total of 120 pounds. My spouse and I split up 2 years ago, and I have since fell in love with another beautifully compassionate vegan. I'll talk more about them in future videos and hopefully collaborate. When we got together, they already had a 2-year-old who's also vegan. And together we have been such an amazing team of superheroes and voices for saving the lives of these innocent beings. On December 6th, we just had our baby, Indy Kai Reese, who has been vegan since before conception, and we are so excited to have our family unit and have the ability to grow and work together on creating peace and revolution on this beautiful planet. Being in quarantine with a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old, all stuck inside one small bedroom, is quite the experience. But it is one that we are utilizing to become closer to ourselves, each other, and the universe. I love each and every one of you with all of my heart and soul. I know that these times can be scary and trying, but we really are all in this together. Regardless of what we have been taught, we are all one. I am you, and you are me. We are everyone. And collectively, every one of us makes up the entirety of the universe. To fix this world, all we have to do is remember how to love and care. Please go vegan. Your body, the animals, and the planet need you. Unified, we can do this. I know we can. We have the power to create change. It is time for an evolution, a revolution, a transformation, a metamorphosis. Help me show Casey that their transcendence was worth it. Wherever they are in this universe, I want them to be able to look down and see that I will never give up on peace and love. I so genuinely hope that you enjoyed this video and hopefully came out on the other side with a new perspective. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you would like to see more content. I have a lot more to talk about if you are willing to spend a little time with me. Lend me your ear, expand your mind, and most importantly, bare your heart and soul. Sometimes in a world so dark, all we have to do is lighten up.